aesthetics is going to be just the beauty part of aesthetics, I should say. It's going to be about 1/3 of the industry here in the next 5 years. Aesthetics is really turning into a longevity health play where, it's more about the way you look, feel, and, function. So I just think that the people that aren't utilizing peptides and incorporating that in their practice are going to get left behind.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Cam Hemphill here, your host for the Medical Millionaire podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. My goal is to give incredible value and insight for practice owners. So if you're in the industry, thinking about joining this industry, being a part of the community, all these episodes that we create, they're to help you elevate, to help you scale. We talk about a lot of stuff that has to do with business mindset, finance, how to take your business to the next level, scale your practice, run it like a business, and really see profits, because that's what we want to see when we're looking at the net result of the overall health of the practice. So guys, today I have an awesome friend on. I've been wanting to have him on for a long time, and I knew we had to wait for the right time. And so I hit him up recently. I said, look, I think now's the time. You have a lot of really cool events coming up. There's a lot of things that are happening in your business, a big event that just took place. And so I thought it was just appropriate for now to be the time. And so I want to welcome Phil Stamper to the podcast. This guy, he's a Jedi, man. He's like everywhere. At one moment, he's at a medical aesthetics conference. The next moment, he's like at the 50-yard line. At football games, he travels more than anybody I know, I think. But you got to follow him on Instagram. And, he's the founder of the Best Aesthetic Injectors and runs the overall, voting and mechanics of how the whole thing takes place. I don't even know how it all takes place, but he is a gentleman, a scholar, and an awesome entrepreneur, and I want to have him on. So, Phil, my man, welcome.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, dude. I know it's a time, coming, and tell us about yourself. Like, I know it seems to me, everybody. Like, we have a lot of colleagues that within the network that know each other. And obviously we've spent, quite a bit of time together. But for the audience that's tuning in, who's Phil Stamper? Tell us about your background and your mission.
Now, basically, once again, you've said my name. I'm Phil Stamper. I founded MedAesthetics America back in 2018. Prior to that, pretty much for the better part of this century, I'll say, since 2000, I've been pretty much a serial entrepreneur. I've started several businesses, grown them, and been fortunate enough to sell them, and kind of chase new projects. But in 2018, I got involved. I saw an opportunity to start MedAesthetics America because prior to that, I was doing some marketing consulting for a doctor that had opened a couple of med spas. And in doing the marketing, just realized there's some glaring holes in aesthetics with it being such a new industry at the time that nobody really recognized aesthetics as its own sector of medical. It was more so kind of a tug of war between derm and plastics, and I always looked at it differently. I was like, no, it's definitely not topical and it's not surgical. It's injectables, and it's really is its own sector. And at the same time that was going on, you had a lot of the doctors were unhappy that a lot of the nurses were making more money than they were, with getting like 30 clients a day in injectables. And we're trying to push the nurse providers out. And so just really saw an opportunity to start a national movement, national organization that recognized aesthetics as its own subsector for medical, and at the same time advocate for the non-core provider. And so in doing so, we had a lot of people that supported our ideas and thoughts that joined. So that's what initially got the organization started. And then from there, we spun it in and started doing the Top 100 Best Aesthetic Injectors in America Award annually, as well as doing a national directory of peer recommended providers, which is one of the things now that we're most known for, is people finding great providers in their area that are not only great at what they do, but also recommended by the elite of the industry. So those are the two positive things that we do. And then as far as for the industry and the injectors are concerned, we do have membership based by invite only for the directory side, which has nothing to do with the award. The award's completely separate from our organization. That's open to all providers throughout the country that want to participate. There's no money exchange stands for that or anything else. It's a sponsored award by Benev, and like I said, that's more of just a promotional side of something we do to recognize the best of the best, and that's aside from our organization. So within our organization, we do have the directory, which I mentioned, which is a membership type thing. There's also We have recommended trainings and events throughout the year that our members are able to go to exclusively at no charge, like our big main national event that comes up every spring, the BAI Summit, which I know you've been to. You were at last year's event. So those are the big things that we kind of do. And we just launched a GPO as well for the members of our organization. So they're able to get, discounted and wholesale pricing on a lot of products just through our collective buying power as a group.
Love it. Love it. The business is growing. You're obviously helping at so many different levels, from, the big event, the conference that you have, going on. I went to that last year for the first time. It was incredible. I mean, there was, elite players there. There was some great key opinion leaders, world-class injectors. And also it was a great time. We all just got along nice, great networking. And I definitely opted in for the one you have coming up in the spring.
Right.
Before I get to that, though, talk to us about the best aesthetic injectors. Because if you pull up your Instagram and you're in the industry right now, you see it popping up all over, right? Like everybody, but a lot of people I follow, I see them getting their awards. I see them talking about it on social media. And I think now is like such an appropriate time to talk about it. How does this take place? Because it's a pretty elite status, right? Like it's shared, it's looked at, it's elevates you. It's a branding component, and it's really going it's viral right now within the industry. And talk to us, like, how did you come up with the idea? Why, and how does it all work?
Basically, like you said, it is its own brand. It's a brand that's owned and run by Aesthetics America. But the best aesthetic injectors started out, we wanted to do it as an award. And so we started the Top 100 award initially. And like I said, that's open to the entire industry. So it's not just for our members of Aesthetics America. It's open to the entire industry. And how it works is throughout the month of October each year, we allow providers to have their peers, colleagues, and patients nominate/vote for them. Each nomination equals a vote throughout the entire month. People can only vote one time, but they're able to cast their nominations votes for up to 5 providers. And then from there, to make it fair, not make it just a pure popularity contest, actually peer votes are equivalent to 5 patient votes. So obviously it means more that if somebody that actually works in the industry thinks you're one of the best, means more than just your patient feeling like you're the best. So, if you do the math on that, 20 peer votes is equivalent to 100 patient votes. And it ends up working out pretty well. There's no foolproof way to do it. But like we said, we collect the votes throughout the month of October, and then we end up announcing the winners in November, which we just announced over the weekend, this past weekend. We announced the top 100 for 2026. It's on the website at bestaestheticinjectors.com. You can see the list. And it's interesting. Every year there seems to be around 30 to 35% kind of turnover. We always retain about 60 to 65, I would say, to 70% are always kind of rollovers from the previous year. And then you always end up with the new faces, the new name. And it just shows the evolution of the business. There are new people getting involved that are very, very good and are, getting respect throughout the industry. And then you have some people that are falling off, maybe they're later in their career, or they don't really want to participate in the top 100 anymore because it's not that meaningful to them, and which is completely fine. The top 100 is meant to be fun. It's meant to be a fun thing to get kind of the community, allow your patients to vote for you and get behind you. And it's just meant to be fun and push. And by no means does it mean if you don't make the top 100 that you're not great at what you do, or that you're not one of the absolute very best, because that's absolutely not the case. It's 100 of the best and most respected providers in the country. But by no means do we say, hey, if you don't make that, you're not also great. Because at the end of the day, the only people you really need to be great for is for your patients and clients that come in. And as long as they think you're the best, then absolutely you're the best. So that's the way I kind of see the award.
No, I love that, dude. That's so true. And I like the fact that you really kind of pull out the gamification aspect of it, of making the ratio to where if your colleague votes for you, it's heavily weighted on that versus your patient. So you can't really just like blast it out to your social or download the list, blast it out to your 10,000 patients and say, vote for me, I'll give you a discount.
Right.
You have to get sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do that. But then the other side of it, the other side of Metastatic Injectors is the actual directory. Now, the directory is the members of Metastatic America. That is an invite only thing, completely separate from the award. Those people that are invited or apply, they can apply. It's all based on getting acceptance. It's based on either a peer recommendation from somebody that's already within our organization that says, hey, you know what, this person's very good. They've been around the industry. Take a look at their work. I think they would be a great fit for our organization. That's one way to get in. The other way is by applying or presenting your work to us, showing us like recent before and afters, or sending over even just your Instagram that kind of shows a lot of your before and after work, so we can see the quality of the work. Third is your industry experience. Obviously, if you're brand new to this, probably not going to get accepted. But if you're somebody that's been around the industry, or definitely if you're a KOL or a trainer and you want to get involved in this, we're just a big industry fraternity / sorority that, helps the industry. That's what we're here for, is the betterment of the industry. It's a great, just all encompassing community of outstanding people that want to get together, network, bounce ideas off of each other, go to conferences together, have fun together, and all help grow the industry.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the directory is huge. It's when I look at it from an outsider's perspective, it puts me in a position to say, you know what, if I want to look at the best of the best, right? There's a directory that's on the internet that no matter where I'm at, whatever city, whatever state, there's a list that I could say, okay, these people have been vetted. Their work has been vetted. They're on this list for a reason. And by default, they have credibility, right? And
Absolutely.
dude, I think that's so hard to do in our space right now because, with social media, Instagram, there's an aesthetics practice on every corner. Instead of this kind of decommoditizes it a little bit. There's almost, literally, I read a stat, there's almost as many med spas now as McDonald's in the US. It's only off by like 1,000, which sounds nuts.
Yeah, there's more popping up every day. It is absolutely wild. And that's one of the reasons we started the directory, because there was no way of vetting out who was good versus who wasn't. I mean, you have Yelp reviews, but everybody knows that Yelp reviews aren't real. People pad those. They have their friends go on and post fake stuff, or otherwise it's a bunch of negative stuff. People don't really take the time to fill out Yelp reviews unless they have something negative to say 9 times out of 10. It just is what it is. That's the nature of our society. But at the same time, we looked at it and we're like, hey, let's vet this out. Let's see who really is the best of the best, that, where providers would be like, hey, if I can't do your work, or you're a family member of mine and I can't do your work, who would I send you to? And they get to recommend those people. That carries a lot of weight of who's really good and respected in the industry.
Yeah. Is there a committee, or what does that process look like? Because
we do. We do have an elite committee of top providers throughout the country. That's kind of how we started. I don't come from a medical background, which I've got a lot of flack for, which doesn't make sense. And when I first put out the award, people were like, oh, who is he to put out this award? He's not even involved in medical. And I said, well, you know what? That's probably exactly why I should be putting out the award, because then it's non-biased. Because the biggest problem with all this in the past is the people running the awards and doing everything were just picking people within their clique because they were already part of the industry. So, to be non-biased and to do it from the outside is the only way to really do it fairly. But, at the same time, it's like we're talking about, you got to find the right people. And so what we did was we aligned ourselves with some of the most respected people from across the country, told them what we were doing. They all thought it was a beautiful idea. They wanted to support, and they came on board. So obviously we lean on them a lot just for advice, not only just with, hey, which providers they think are great, or with vetting out providers, but with relationship building, with a lot of sponsorship partners and things we have, and just they are the pulse of the industry. So being able to listen to top KOLs and the members of our elite committee is invaluable.
And what does it take to become a member, right? Because I know that you can be on the directory. There's a vetting process. There's an elite committee. I've seen the list, right? And I know lots of names on the list. And for somebody that's been in the industry, for a long period of time, it's like it gut checks for me. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. These guys are wonderful. I've had a lot of them do my work, even though, look at me. I mean, shit, I could use some more. But it's vetted, it's verified. But what does that membership look like? And maybe you can talk about all the events. I know you're doing these pop-ups that are super cool, and then you have the big event in the spring. Talk to us about that.
No, I mean, basically, like you nailed it. How it originally started out was once we did the Top 100 award, we had a lot of people that the first year reaching out going, "Hey, who's great in my area? I saw the Top 100, but there's nobody from where I live." And so we started looking at it and going, "Hey, who are these people that getting a lot of votes within these areas? Because they're obviously very well respected in that area." So from there is kind of how we started the directory. We said, you know what, we're going to look at these people getting a lot of votes for Top 100. They're obviously respected within their community, and offer them the opportunity to join this directory, as well as anybody that made the Top 100. Just because you make the Top 100, once again, it's completely separate from the directory. You still have the option to join our organization, but you're not entitled to, or you're not required to. If you choose to join and sign up, it comes with a lot of perks. Not only do you get the directory listing, but you get to attend all of our private events and trainings throughout the year. Like you said, we do pop-up events, which are basically like brunches that we throw in different cities for the members of our organization. They can come in, network, have an amazing brunch, and then we always have a couple sponsors from our organization. We'll show up and do quick presentations about what's new in the industry, what new products they may have coming out, things like that, and also offer exclusive discounts that day. Hey, you maybe have a 2-week opportunity to order within this specialized pricing if you want to get this product. But once again, that's stuff that's exclusive to our group, that's not offered to the industry as a whole. So stuff like that's fun. And then once a year, obviously, like we talked about, we do our big BAI Summit, Best Aesthetic Injectors National Summit. This next year, it's actually April 24th through 26th at the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego. So we're looking forward to taking it back out to the West Coast, and that'll be fun. It's always a good group of people. We'll have anywhere from 160 to 200 very well-respected providers in attendance. It's mainly current and former Top 100 winners, as well as members of our national organization at Medicetics America, and KOLs for the different sponsoring companies are the majority of the people that attend. Like you said, you were there last year. You saw a lot of big names, and it's a good time. But we do try to balance out the learning and the educational portion with some good social events and networking too, because I feel like that's very important as well.
I agree. I love the event. I thought it was, there were so many great takeaways. Like, it's to build a close relationship within the colleagues and the network that you have. I mean, so many business ideas came out of that event, and there was some great people that were there, like great speakers, great presenters, great products. And I got the opportunity to meet, a lot of individuals that I only know through social or through, other events. And so I think the event was great. And, the fact that you're going to have it on the West Coast this year, coming up in the spring in April, at the Hard Rock Hotel, that's a wonderful, fun venue, right?
Yeah, it will be.
What are you going to do this year? Like, what? I know you got something up your sleeve. You can talk about it. You always surprise me with something cool. So talk to us
now this year.
About
The opening night on Friday, April 24th, we're going to do we'll do a big concert. Obviously, you can't go to the Hard Rock and not do a concert. So we will have a celebrity music artist playing on Friday night at our cocktail reception. So that'll be big. And then Saturday night, we'll do the Top 100 Gala, which will still be open for everybody to attend, but we will recognize a lot of the Top 100 members that are there, both current and former. Anybody that's ever made the Top 100 will be recognized. And it's just a fun little event to show up, get dolled up for the evening and have fun. And then there'll be also just some free time, where we're going to be right downtown in the Gaslamp district of San Diego. So it'll be fun for people to be able to, go out in groups together or maybe even take in a San Diego Padres game if they're home that weekend.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And some great speaking, right? So like throughout the day, what does the day look like? Because I've looked at the prospectus a couple times. I know you've changed it quite a bit, but
right.
Zeroing in on it, I know that there's some tremendous education throughout the day and great speakers and products. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like we're going to have a lot of like big name people that are very well respected in the industry. I'm doing presentations. We'll have some unbelievable panels lined up. And a lot of the topics, are forward thinking, it's about the evolution of the industry more so than just, hey, this product's great, let's talk about it. No, it's more so talking about the direction of the industry, of where we're currently at, where we've been, and more importantly, where we're going as an industry. Obviously, with all the wellness and everything coming with peptides and everything else right now, aesthetics is going to be just the beauty part of aesthetics, I should say. It's going to be about 1/3 of the industry here in the next 5 years. Aesthetics is really turning into a longevity health play where, it's more about the way you look, feel, and, function. So I just think that the people that aren't utilizing peptides and incorporating that in their practice are going to get left behind.
Yeah, I agree. I got a fridge full of peptides downstairs, and I use them consistently. And obviously, I'm fortunate enough to have the ability to have connectivity to the industry and have people I can rely on and have conversations with providers that are experts in the space. But I don't have Botox downstairs in my house, right?
Right.
So to your point, I completely agree. I think it's going to be, the wellness side, the whole holistic view of, longevity, health, not only looking good on the outside, feeling good on the inside, and really trying to anti-age ourselves. That's where
Absolutely.
it's all going. I mean, you saw this is what I think is interesting. When you look at the historical med spa, if you will, do you remember when they were called Medi Spas? You remember?
Yes.
My Medi Spa. I mean, it seems like a long time ago, but that's what they all called themselves. And then that got ditched and it went to Med Spa, and that's still obviously used, but then it went to, I'd say more of a formal name like Medical Aesthetics, right? And now it's going, you see medical aesthetics and wellness. It's almost like and wellness is starting to bolt on.
Absolutely.
And, and some I've just now seen straight to go to medical, name medical. And and this is, I mean, dude, we're talking within 8 years, all of this is advanced this fast. I mean, that's
no, it's all longevity health. And I think within the next 8 years, I think it's going to get to a point which is absolutely insane to think about, but it's probably going to get to the point where injectables are no longer. I think everything's going to be internal. It's all going to be from peptides. There's things that are anti-aging from the inside out. It's not going to be from the outside in. And it's crazy to think, but it's realistically kind of the trajectory that we're on within this space and with science. It's crazy, and I can't wait to kind of see where it all goes. But, speaking on the peptide part, that is another thing that our organization's doing right now. We actually we have our own peptide line coming out. We have our own labs, everything else is called Peptide Complete. What sets us apart is not only will we have some of the best pricing in the industry, but we also use CoverWell, which is a warranty based, works kind of like an Affleck insurance for medical providers that, covers things that malpractice doesn't cover, or say you had an occlusion or something on a provider and you needed to put them in a hyperbaric chamber, do some things like that. This policy would cover all of that, it's basically just something that's on your medical form or your waiver that they sign at the bottom. The expense on it is about 4%. So it's just tacked on to the procedure, no different than a sales tax would be. Mm-hmm. They sign it. So basically they're covering their own self. So it's a win-win for the medical director, the provider, as well as the patient. But that company is partnering with us not only on procedures like that our providers use within office, but actually on our peptides, because as you know, a lot of peptides are, they're not covered by FDA. They're not FDA approved. So God forbid one of our providers gives a patient some peptides. They happen to get sick while taking those peptides. It has nothing to do with the peptide, but it's just the timing of it's off. And they go and say, hey, you prescribed me these peptides and I got sick off of them. They're not FDA approved, so I want to sue you. Well, that wouldn't carry any weight because CoverWell has you basically covered on all peptides. And, that's really important right now when we're kind of in that gray area of the peptide space. So that's a big winner for us. So not only having our own labs and being able to compete with anybody price wise, but being able to have that built into our product is huge. And then separately on top of that, away from the peptide side and back to the traditional aesthetic products, we do have our GPO that was just launched. So we're able to offer our members a 20 to 30% discount, basically wholesale pricing, basically bulk pricing on minimal orders on a lot of the top brands. I mean, pretty much the only brands we're not currently carrying is we don't carry any Allergan. We're working with Evolus to bring them on in the future. And other than that, the only company we don't use is Revance or Crown Aesthetics. Like those between Galderma, them, and currently Evolus. But we do carry everyone else. We have Galderma, we have Mers, we have Prolinium, we have Benev. And it's big because it allows the smaller kind of, independent practitioner to go in and compete with the big boys, the big med spas that have the money to order 100 units at a time, or these, these private equity firms that are snatching up everybody, and it's making it hard for the little guy to compete. Now they can go in and go, hey, you know what? I don't need to order 100 units to get this pricing or 50 units to get this pricing. I can order the 5 or 10 units I'm going to need for this month of this particular product, and I'm going to get the same pricing as I would if I went through a traditional rep and ordered 50 units. So that's what we're really trying to do within the organization to help out our members. Obviously, there's membership fees like with any organization or directory, whether it be Yellow Pages, New Beauty, Real Self, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Because obviously it takes money to market and promote the organization and to put on the events and everything that we do that's at no cost to the providers involved. But it ends up paying for itself. It'll pay for itself 10 times over if you're part of the organization on what you're going to save through the ordering product through the GPO. Going to one national conference would cost you more than your annual fees are with us. Do the math on that. You get to go to a national summit that's invite only, basically, for free, other than covering your airfare and hotel. And then all the pop-ups and everything else that go along with it throughout the year. Plus, you're listed amongst the best of the best in the industry, so that the public can find you. It's kind of a no-brainer when you really look into it. If you're fortunate enough to get invited to do it, or if you apply and get accepted, you would absolutely be crazy not to get involved with the organization and just have access to the network and the other people that are so highly respected that are within the organization.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, just the network, right, alone. I mean, if you just the GPO side is amazing, right? Having the ability to level the playing field from private equity groups, big practices, level that out, have the ability to buy. You don't have to overbuy your inventory. Some of that inventory can, go by the wayside if it's whatever its shelf life is. So, I think that's huge, but having access to the network, like, I don't even know how you put a value on it, dude. It's so valuable to just be connected and because as you grow your practice, you're an entrepreneur, you're running your practice like a business, you run into issues, whether it's inventory related issues, a patient gets upset, you have to fire a provider, what is happening with your financials, what sort of tech should I use, what sort of tech should I ditch? You have this network of people that you can communicate with, ask questions. Everybody's been through whatever you're experiencing at some level, just how long they've been in the game, right? And so having that access, like for me, is just like, that's why people buy into masterminds, right? Is to get information quickly and to learn quickly. And so the value is huge.
100%, man. We're excited and excited to keep growing it and, listening to the community and what's needed. And, we're not setting anything that we do. We're obviously looking to evolve as the industry grows and, fill any voids and needs that are there for the betterment of the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I know you're going to have a lot of sponsors that are coming to the summit, right? And, I've had some conversations with you and saying, hey, I think that some of these people may be a good fit. They serve the aesthetics network and industry pretty well. And, it's exciting to hear how excited they are to participate and want to sponsor and want to participate. And so, like, I say this for the audience, guys. So for of those that are tuning in that have not been to a conference in a while, that maybe you have pulled back on networking. Maybe you are so busy with patients, you don't have the time. Find the time. Find the time, block out the calendar, plan ahead, go network with your peers, go get involved with organizations like what Phil has. And this isn't just selling it. I don't get any benefit. I know what I've been through as an entrepreneur, and having a ear on the other end to talk to, communicate with, to build off of. You learn a lot past your traditional education, right? It's so important.
No, and even like you said, even for myself, I'm involved in other professional organizations as well as a business owner, because I want to go in and find ways to be able to run this organization better or get ideas and advice from people that are way more successful than me to help with the longevity of what we're doing here. It doesn't always have to be within the space. You never can know too much, and you're never going to have all the answers, but it's good to surround yourself with just great people that can give you advice, and allow you to, find new opportunities and maybe think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey man, I know you're super busy, and I really appreciate having you on. Where for people that want to get more information, find you, connect with you, learn about, joining, potentially going to the event, like, where should they go? What's the best place for them to go?
No, basically, depending on what they're looking for, if they want to get involved with the organization, or, if it's a company out there that wants to get involved with maybe, sponsoring or being a part of the BAI Summit, I will say this just from feedback that we've gotten from other companies in the past is that a lot of the reasons that our sponsors have really stuck with us throughout the years and love our conference is we're a smaller conference. Obviously, we're 160 to 200 providers that show up, but 3/4 of the people that show up are the decision maker. So unlike going to these big conferences that cost a lot of money to go to with these big extravagant exhibit halls and everything else, where you might sit in an exhibit hall all day for 2 days, and in that time period, maybe 1 in 10 people that walk by you is able to make a decision. We set ours up completely different. We pretty much only have about 4 hours of exhibit hall time throughout the weekend where we do private events within the exhibit hall space with our vendors. We don't have more than 10 exhibitors at a time. And at the same time, 3 out of 4 people that visit your exhibit table are the decision maker that can decide whether they're cutting a check for your product or not. So the value in that to the companies that sponsor is absolutely massive, and one of the reasons that we've had the success with the sponsorship that we've had throughout the years, and why we retain, I would say, about 9 out of 10 sponsors year to year. Aside from that, from a provider standpoint, you've already nailed it of what it is. It's great. If anybody that wants to get involved, you can go to bestaestheticinjectors.com, see our stuff there. You can also find our contact there to write in if you want to just get more information about potentially joining or apply for acceptance. Feel free to reach out to us there. Or you can go to metaestheticsamerica.com if you're a provider and see more information about our organization there, and as well as be able to apply for membership through that and learn more about our GPO and just everything else within the organization.
Awesome. Well, Phil, it's been a pleasure having you on. I know you're super busy, and there you guys have it. If you guys are curious, want more information, I've been to the conference. I give it my 5 stars, and Phil does have a great organization. Him and I have become friends over the year, and I've gotten close. And really, he's a great guy and runs a great organization. So that's what I have to say for it. But you guys have to check it out for yourself, and tell me what you think. And if you found this particular episode valuable, please share it, rate it, share it. I know that there's people within your sphere, your colleagues, your friends, that could benefit from this particular recording. And that's what we want to do, is continue to help grow the community. And that's what it's all about. So I'll leave it at that. Until next time, happy injecting.
Thank you.